It is week 2 of FTT 217. My name is Matthew Maltby, and this is going to be week 2's assignment. Today is the 27th of May, so I'm a day late, but considering all the issues that I had with picking up my lower receiver, I definitely appreciate a little bit of an extension that you gave me. Thank you very much. I got everything done, so now considering that, the reading is fundamental, and of course I didn't do a lot of fundamental reading. It does mention that for part 1 that basically you just show everything as a disassembled rifle. Considering how late I got my receiver later on in the week, I just jumped right in to try to get everything done. So basically I just assembled the rifle right away, but I can go through the other 2 parts, no problem. So part 2, we're talking about 6 different components and how they actually work as far as in the order of in the cycle of operations. So here's what I came up with. I'm going to be working with the hammer, the extractor, locking lugs, forward assist, the buffer spring, and the barrel. Okay, the barrel extension more appropriately, but we'll go with the whole barrel. All right, so first things first, you want to talk about the hammer. And I'm going to go ahead and get the firearm here, and I'll show you, obviously it's safe. It's kind of still a little bit new. I'm going to say, yeah, no ammunition in there, it's clear. Okay, so safe and clear. All right, so basically, I'm going to now break down the upper and lowers so that I can actually show you what I'm looking at here. All right, so working with the hammer, okay? The cycle of operations that this falls under is firing. As the hammer moves forward, strikes the back of the firing pin. The firing pin progresses through the firing pin hole, strikes the primer. Basically, it is pretty much works on the firing aspect, but it also works on the cocking aspect, and this is pretty much the whole cocking process. So as the round detonates, as the round goes off, the gas will come up through the gas tube, push the bolt carrier back, and it will push the hammer down as it goes into the buffer tube. Pushes up against the buffer, goes in the buffer tube. So that is basically going to be cocking and firing. All right, the second component is going to be the extractor. So I don't want to break down the bolts too much, but basically you got your extractor. It's going to be this little guy right here, and what it does is it basically is going to be for the extracting portion of the cycle of operations. It will, as it's, you could actually say it's chambering also. As it chambers, as the bolt comes forward, strips off the round, it goes into the barrel extension, goes into the chamber. The extractor is spring loaded. It will clip around the rim of the cartridge, and so that's kind of how it comes into play in the chambering. But as the round goes off, everything starts moving its way backwards. Bolt cam pin does its thing, turning that way. It's going to the bolt's going to be pulling back this way, and the extractor is actually pulling the round out of the barrel, out of the barrel extension, out of the chamber. And as it gets to the end of the movement, it will actually the ejector will go ahead and push that round out. But again, we're just working on the extractor. So yeah, we're basically, like I said, we're working on it's going to be chambering and extracting. All right, the next one is going to be the locking lugs. Locking lugs, these guys right here. As it's going to be the locking aspect is pretty much what they're for. As the bolt goes forward and the bolts line up with the recesses in the barrel extension, the bolt will cam to the left, just slightly to the left, about say about 20, 30 degree, 40 degrees. And these lugs will then turn, and the lugs from the bolt from the barrel extension is going to be right in this little groove right here. They're going to turn, and it's going to lock into the basically lock the actual bolt and the bolt carrier into the barrel extension. Can be unlocking also. As the round goes off, again, we're going backwards. The force is going to push the bolt cam pin back this way. I'm going to pull that back out that way, and these lugs are then going to unlock from the grooves in the barrel extension and then slide out through the recesses. All right, so we're going with our forward assist now. Forward assist is going to be this portion right here. All it's going to be doing is helping with the chambering. That's all. But if for some reason debris gets in there, or maybe there's an issue with the rifle with chambering, you just give this guy a couple of taps and it will push on the little serrations along the bolt carrier group, and it'll actually push that bolt into the into actually being into chambering. So that's going to be the forward assist. Buffer spring is going to be right here. And let me go ahead and get this guy out. All right, so the buffer spring is basically going to be it's going to be taking part in the unlocking, the cocking, the chambering, or the feeding, the chambering, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, so basically it's going to, but basically the way the concept works is as the bolt slides back, it's going to go slide back into this tube, and basically they call the extension, or the I can't remember exactly what SDI called it. I call it the buffer tube. So basically it's going to go back into here. The spring is going to compress completely up against here as the buffer comes back, and then it's going to go ahead and push through. Now how that's working is you're going to have while the spring is actually going, it's going to be involved in every process that I just mentioned. So it's going to be working simultaneously with every process, but not actually impacting and not actually directly involved with each one. The only ones I would say that would be directly involved with would be basically extracting and injecting, or extracting and feeding. That's it, and chambering. Yeah, chambering and feeding. Those are the only ones it's going to be directly involved with. Okay. Now, the last one is going to be the barrel. Okay. Now this is going to be, and I'm not going to take this guy apart because I have worked on this for a while. So basically what's going to happen is it's going to be the feeding, chambering, firing, extracting, and that's pretty much all it's going to be involved with. As the round goes up the feed ramp into the chamber, the bolt carrier group, the lugs on the bolt are going to enter into the recesses, are going to lock. That makes it okay. So it's going to be locking and unlocking. It's going to the firing is going to happen. Then it's going to be unlocking and extracting. And of course the ejecting is done by the ejector. So that is the 6 things that actually are going to be working and the part of the cycle of operations. Now, part 3 is going to be, I'm going to reassemble this guy. So, alright, so I'm going to be using, and I have the SDI, the handy SDI, there it is, the magazine here for, so that we can go ahead and use a dummy round to show you the cycle of operations. And that's what we'll be doing here. We'll be using a dummy round. So we've got our dummy rounds in here, so you can verify these are dummy rounds. And then we're going to have the feeding, then the locking, firing, unlocking, I've used AR-15s a lot. AR-10s are a little bit different. Exchanging, extracting, ejecting, cocking. That should be it. Okay, so that's pretty much the entire cycle of operations. You had your feeding, chambering, locking, firing, unlocking, extracting, ejecting, and cocking. And that happened all in that little process right there. All right, so like I said, I definitely appreciate the little bit of extension you gave me there. Yeah, I definitely appreciate it. I did go ahead and get through this. Now, not everything on here is probably going to be the same when you see it again, because I did use just the SDI components to go ahead and, you know, outfit it. But as with everything else, I'm going to be making this my own. So, thank you very much. Have a great weekend.